Right, buddy, let's talk Bruno Fernandes. There has been some huge developments. This is kind of going to be an overview of what's going on with Bruno Fernandes at Manchester United. Obviously, we've had some updates from Laurie Ritwell. Ruben Amorim's been talking, and yeah, we're going to get into it now. Listen, obviously, Al Hilal have been still massively interested in signing Bruno Fernandes. A lot of the Manchester United fans want him to stay. And the thought of him leaving is very heartbreaking, to be honest. Now, there has been some updates coming in from Ruben Amorim. We start off what he said. He said this in the post-match press conference from today's game against Hong Kong. He said, "My feeling is that Bruno wants to stay. He is saying no to a lot of things. The club can find other ways to make money. I feel like he wants to stay for sure with United, but you never know." So let's see what happens. Obviously, Ruben Amorim wants him to stay. Bruno's agent has been having discussions with Al Hilal CEO about a potential deal. Now, as I said, I want to keep Bruno Fernandes. If you look at some other things that have come out, they've obviously given him that deadline until tomorrow. They're willing to offer between 80 to 100 million pounds. Yeah, there will be offering 80 to 100 million pounds. If Bruno Fernandes leaves, there's definite chance Manchester United could move for Victor Gyökeres, as we will have the money to do so. But for me, Bruno's an integral part of the team. And listen, I can understand if United were to sell Bruno. I think you can understand the money it brings into the club. They're going to make a first offer of 84 million pounds for him. So listen, 84 million pounds, is that what Bruno's worth? Probably not. I think he's worth north of 100 million pounds. As I said, you can understand why Manchester United would accept it. The financial status that Manchester United are in, how poor and how desperate we are in for some sort of money to come into the club. And 84 million pounds, region of that would be a lot of money. You have to look at it from the player side as well. It's generational wealth for his family. If you look at the money that they are going to offer him, I think it's 700k per week. And yeah, listen, it's now up to Bruno Fernandes. That's all that's going to really be happening on Bruno at the moment. They're giving him the deal. We'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll keep you up to date with anything that does happen. But that's the latest on Bruno. Al Hilal are going to make a huge offer of around 84 million pounds. It's up to Bruno to accept it now. Obviously, the fans want him to stay. Ruben Amorim wants him to stay. It's up to Bruno and his agent now to kind of decide what goes on with the move at Manchester United. Goes on with his future at Manchester United. For me, he'll be a legend at the club. What he's done in 5 years, him at the club has been fantastic and the most consistent and the best player in big moments when you need him. Yes, he's had his shaky moments and he has gone missing in moments where you need him, but by far the most consistent player and one of my favourite players that United have had in a while. Now, in terms of the next thing, I'm going to talk about Garnacho. Now, Alejandro Garnacho is on Al Nassr's transfer list if they fail to secure Luis Diaz. That's coming from Ben Jacobs, as he did an interview with United Stand. Listen, for me, Garnacho, it's clear that he's going to leave. Where he does go to is very interesting. Again, Saudi could potentially be an offer for him. Again, he's a marquee player as well. Obviously, Napoli are heavily interested in signing him. For me, it's all about getting Garnacho out of this football club. I think that's the most important thing. For me personally, I like Garnacho as a player. I think he's a decent player. Someone who, for me, does have a good future at Manchester United. But again, Amorim disagrees, and I think he will leave. Now, where he does go is very interesting. But yeah, let's see what happens on the Garnacho situation. He has been linked with a move to Saudi and Al Nassr, but let's see what develops there. Going back to Bruno Fernandes quickly, Al Hilal are going to do everything. They're willing to offer everything they can to get Bruno Fernandes. As I said, they missed out on Mo Salah. They really want a marquee player before the Club World Cup, which starts in just over 2 weeks' time. I believe it starts in over 2 weeks' time. I'm not too sure, but I think it's around the 10th to the 15th of June it does start. But let's see what happens with that. For me, as you know, Bruno, I want him to stay at the football club as long as he can. He's one of my favourite players. He's one of our most important players, and he's a key player to what Ruben Amorim's trying to build. Yes, he's 30. He's not getting any younger. And you can reinvest it into the squad. But I think at the moment, in the state that we're in, I think selling Bruno wouldn't be a beneficial thing. I think there's so many other players you can look to sell. We need a new goalkeeper. like we've seen today, Binder and Heaton in great. Onana's got to go, so that's already a new keeper that you need. You've had Evans leave, we've had Lindelof leave. We can't rely on Martinez. We're probably in need of a centre-back. Wing backs, we probably need one of those as well. In terms of a midfield, Eriksen's left. I think the midfield were okay, but in attack, listen, Sancho's going to leave, Anthony's going to leave, Rashford's going to leave, maybe Højlund. That leaves with Xerxes, Ahmad. We need a striker as well. So Bruno wouldn't be one of the first players I look to replace, but again, he's probably the one who would give you the most money now in the long run for Manchester United. But let's see what happens with that situation. For me, as I said, Bruno staying at the club is imperative to where we want to go going forward. In such a crap season, he's got over 35 goal contributions this season, and he is one of the best players in the Premier League for me. But let me know your thoughts. I'm going to leave it there. That has been a quick news update. Obviously, HILAL, they're desperate and they want to sign Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, on Cunha, we know that deal's done. There hasn't been no update on whether medical will happen, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. On some other interesting stories, as I said, Garnacho, watch out for him to Saudi. There's been reports from Ben Jacobs about that as well, but let's see what happens.